It is time. Let's go. What's up, everyone? This is Cedric Skycedi, and welcome back to part 2 of my Q&A. A couple of weeks ago, I asked you guys to send me questions. You sent me a bunch of them. I made a video, wasn't able to get to all the questions, so I'm making a part 2 to get to as many as I can. And so if you didn't see the first part, make sure you check it out right here. There's so many questions to go through, so I'm gonna do my best to get through as many as I can in this video right here. So let's not waste any more time and let's go. Gina asks, hey Cedi, what is your first impressions of Korea? How does the impression match or not match with your expectations? So my first impressions of Korea, overall, very positive, easy time adjusting here. I noticed that everything was very convenient, and in my city of Daejeon, there's one subway line that I can get to any part of the city, and there's buses as well for some of the outer parts of the city that are not on the subway lines. Everything's really clean overall, except the air. The air is pretty bad here. There's some days where it is very much advised for you to wear those masks. Some days the air is better. So overall, very clean compared to some of the cities I've been to in the States, and also very lively. I expected Korea to be very lively, especially in some of the bigger cities like the city that I'm in, and so far everything has matched my expectations overall. I would like to revisit this question though after about a year of living here. Dating life in Korea and how you feel about it since you may only be there for the year. Dating life, I'm open, I'm single, ready to mingle, hit me up. I'm actually planning on being here for the long term, so I'm planning on settling down here. But in the meantime, in order to get there, I have to start dating, so I'm pretty much open to it. The dating culture here is a little different than in the States. It's very much a relational/association type of dating culture. A lot of times friends will set you up on dates with people they know or their friends, and it's called sogeting, which is blind dating. And so that's a big way that you meet people. Also, a lot of people here are on online dating sites and apps, and so that's a very big thing. And for me personally, I'm pretty open. I don't really care how I find her as long as I find her and she finds me. How was the workload as an English teacher in Korea through EPIK? What has been your favorite aspect of teaching so far, and also what age group do you teach? So the typical workload with the EPIK program is 22 teaching hours a week. Now that means in theory, you will be teaching about 22 classes a week. I have different EPIK teacher friends, and some of them are teaching different hours. I know one that's teaching about 20 hours a week. Another one is teaching about 29. Oh, that's me. Actually, my situation's a little different, but generally speaking, you're only teaching about 22 hours a week. Now, the rest of the time is what's known as desk warming, which is the time that you're supposed to be planning for your lessons. My favorite part about teaching so far is the aspect that the kids are very easily attached. Korean kids, generally speaking, easily get attached to their teachers, especially the foreign teachers, because we're so different and we're not something that they're used to. And they're overall just very excited to be around you. They want to learn from you. They are very curious. And so that's my favorite aspect. And these kids will melt your heart because they'll say like the most flattering things to you, whether it's true or not. Like, oh, teacher, you're so handsome. Teacher, you're so cool. So yeah, I love that. Maybe because it feeds my ego. I teach 6th grade and middle school 3rd grade, which is the equivalent of 9th grade in the States. Patanga, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Did you teach before? If yes, what do you think is challenging about teaching in another country, and what methodologies work best? No, I have not taught in this context before, so this is my first time teaching in a school setting. I would say the most challenging part about teaching in another country is really understanding how the school system works and how the school system wants you to teach. Now, you may have your own ideas about what works in teaching, or what you feel like is best, but at the end of the day, you have to align with how the school wants you to teach. So that's probably the most challenging part. As far as methodologies, not quite sure yet. I'm testing different things out because, like I said, I haven't had teaching experience in this context, and so I'll get back to you on that one. What are some struggles you've been dealing with, and how are you working to overcome them? I wouldn't say I'm dealing with any major struggles here, but I am dealing with some challenges, and one of the biggest things is just my fluency in Korean. I'm conversationally fluent, but really at an elementary level, and so that's the biggest challenge because I came here to immerse myself in my culture, and language is a huge part of it. And so I've been working really hard to not only study, but to also practice. So how I've been overcoming that is I've been developing relationships with people who are native speakers of Korean here. So I've been hanging out with them, texting them, and it's been very helpful. What made you decide to film the whole process for EPIK? Were you pretty confident that you were going to get in? And would you have applied to different programs if you didn't get accepted? So I decided to film the whole process because I wanted to document my journey, not only for myself, but for other people to see in real time. I figured, you know what? It would be helpful for others who are interested in applying to EPIK or teaching in Korea to see the process in real time from beginning to end. And so I thought it was a good time, since I was beginning, to go ahead and start that. And it kind of turned into what the channel is today. As far as being confident about getting in with EPIK, I felt pretty confident that I would get accepted because I knew I had all the qualifications on paper, and it was just a matter of getting the interview and timing, making sure all my documents were in on time so I could book that interview early. And I'm pretty decent with interviews. I usually don't get nervous, and I just let my hair down and just have a good time in the interview. And so I was pretty confident that I would get in. But if I didn't get in, I would have looked into hagwon or private school options to teach English. Either way, I wanted to come to Korea this year, and I was gonna find some way to do it. Do you have any advice for people who want to teach English in Korea? Absolutely, just do it. You only live once, and seriously, it's an experience of a lifetime. I would say though, make sure you have your reasons defined for doing it. Some people do it just to get away for a year or two. They're in between jobs and they just want to experience something new. Other people, they want to immerse themselves in Korean culture. Everyone has their reasons. Just make sure they're defined and then go after it. Don't let anything stop you. Just do it. Okay, so maybe that was a little too motivational, but let me give you some practical tips. Look into your two main options, which are the public school systems, which you can apply through EPIK, or the private school systems, which are hagwon. So these are private institutes and academies. I would do your research, plenty of YouTube videos on them. Some of them are helpful, some of them are not. Definitely check out my video on the EPIK process. That might be helpful for you if you're thinking about going into the public school route. So tons of resources on there. If you have any more questions, leave it below. Favorite K-pop group, top 3, Red Velvet, Pristin, and Twice. Let's go a little deep with this question right here. My children want to visit Korea. I'm adopted from Korea and they are half Caribbean/Nigerian. Basically, they are half black. I've heard different things about Korea being racist, and I didn't know how they would be treated if we visited. You being of similar background, what has your experience been? That's a very good question. So far, my experience has been quite positive. The worst things that I would say has happened to me so far are ignorant comments or maybe just stares. And I really don't mind that because, in certain parts of Korea, they don't see foreigners a lot. And so it's understandable. It doesn't mean that they're racist. It doesn't mean that they have any ill intent when they do that. Now, I know that there are racist Koreans. I know that racism goes on. I just haven't experienced it yet. Hopefully I won't, but the reality is I probably will. I will say though that depending on where you go, there are foreigner heavy areas, especially Seoul. When you go to Seoul, you're gonna see all different types of foreigners. And I think the general population of Seoul, as far as the native Koreans, are used to seeing foreigners, generally speaking. And so I don't think it's much of an issue versus going to maybe some rural areas where they're not used to seeing foreigners. You might get the side eye, you might even get some racist discrimination going on. I'm not sure. But for the most part, I think Korea has made progress in moving forward. Korea has a long way to go, but they have, comparatively speaking to the past, they have made progress in understanding and accepting people outside of their race. So I think if you wanted to visit and you're concerned about how your children are going to be treated, I think if you go to some of the bigger cities, they're gonna be fine. A lot of the Korean people here are very nice, they're very sweet, and I don't think you have anything to worry about, honestly. And if a situation arises, it's a one-off situation, doesn't happen every day. Now, that's my experience, so definitely come to the motherland. I think you'll love it. Is it harder for people of color to make Korean friends or get into relationships? Please answer honestly. Now, this is a very good question, and you ask 10 different people of color this question, you're probably gonna get 10 different answers. I don't know, but I will say, no, it is not hard for people of color to make friends in Korea. Now, that is a generalized answer. Let me get into a couple of specifics. In my opinion, there are a lot of Koreans who are looking to make foreigner friends. I've already met some, and they're great people. They're very interested in culture outside of Korea. They're everywhere throughout Korea. Also, another way to make friends, especially as a person of color, is to be invested in the culture that you are in, right? So if you're in Korea, invest yourself in learning the language and understanding the culture to the best of your ability. You're not gonna have an issue making friends. I can guarantee you that. Now, you're gonna have different opinions from people who say, no, it's gonna be hard for people of color. That's not true. If you put yourself out there and if you make the first moves, because generally Korean people, especially the foreigners, they're not gonna make the first move 9 times out of 10. You're going to find that people are going to be interested in you. They're gonna be curious, but in a good way. And that's how friendships can be born. How were you raised as a mixed race kid? What advice would you give to future parents of mixed race kids? Now, Maria, that's a very good question, and I'm actually not gonna answer that in this Q&A because I wanna do a full separate video on that. So I really appreciate the question. Be on the lookout for that video because I want to go in depth on what it was like being raised as a mixed race kid and also giving some advice to parents with mixed race kids. Are you able to do daily vlogs living in Korea? So to be honest with you, daily vlogs, I'm not able to do them at this point right now because I do work a full-time job and my hours are pretty long. I have enough energy and time to really knock out one vlog a week, and that's just because of the way I edit, and it just takes me forever to put together a video. And not only that, you gotta shoot the video, come up with the concepts, and so right now I can commit to one video a week or one vlog a week, but I hope that that would change. And so in the future, should my schedule open up, I'm definitely down to do more daily vlogs. Maybe not every day, but a couple of times a week would be awesome. What are some things you learned in your 20s that shapes who you are today? And what are some things Korea has taught you so far about yourself? I think that the biggest thing that I learned from my 20s is this: stop caring about what people think. Now, this is the biggest lesson that I have learned in my 20s because most of my 20s have been shaped by the opinions of others, or really my perception of their opinion of me. And I lived in a way that I just wanted to please people. I wanted them to be satisfied with everything that I did and everything that I said, and I wanted my decisions to please them. And I realized that looking back, that most of those people aren't even in my life anymore. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, life just moves on and people grow and people go down different paths, but I've worked so hard to please people and neglected some of the things that I truly wanted to do or truly felt like I should have done just to please them, and they're no longer in my life. And so my biggest lesson in my 20s is to not let the opinions of others dominate and dictate your life. Now, let's be real, to a certain extent, we should be concerned about what other people think, right? I'm not gonna roll out here without brushing my teeth and without taking a shower because I don't want to be perceived as dirty, let alone I don't even wanna be dirty, but you get what I'm saying. There's a healthy balance of being concerned about what people think because that's how we are as human beings. We have emotions and we need to have this social interaction with one another, and being concerned about what others think is a part of that. But when it gets to a point where you're constricting yourself and you're not making moves because you're scared about what other people think, or you're scared to fail because people are gonna laugh at you, or people are gonna think that you're stupid or you made a stupid decision, at that point, you're not really living. At that point, you're just kind of suffocating and you're just going day by day, and you're never gonna accomplish what you wanna accomplish. And so in my 20s, I did just that, and towards the tail end of my 20s, I said, you know what, I had enough. Like, I'm gonna do what's in my heart to do. And honestly, the people that really matter, they're gonna be the ones that will stick by me. They're gonna be the ones that are gonna be by my side anyway. So I think that was the biggest lesson for me, because had I not learned that lesson, I definitely would not be in Korea right now. Had I not learned that lesson, I would still be shy and timid to put myself out there. Had I not learned that lesson, I definitely wouldn't have started this YouTube channel, trust me. So I think that once I broke out of that, I was able to find this courage and strength just to put myself out there and to pursue what I want to pursue. And I don't regret that at all. So I feel like it's a very liberating place to be. And I'm glad that I've come to this point. Now I haven't arrived yet, I'm still a work in progress, but I'm glad that I'm further along than where I was in the beginning of my 20s. Progress, not perfection, that's the key, always moving forward. Now as far as what Korea has taught me, I think that Korea has taught me to get out of my comfort zone. Now I have my own personal reasons for coming to Korea and for moving to Korea, some of which I have shared with you guys, but overall I came to Korea to immerse myself into my cultural heritage and to acclimate into society and to develop relationships and to go out and pursue some of the things that I wanted to pursue. And to be honest with you, if I really sit down and think about it, a lot of that is scary. A lot of that is something that could allow me to get fearful and to just cower back. But I think that Korea has taught me that in order for me to see what I want to see, to fulfill what I want to fulfill, then I have to put myself out there. And Korea is teaching me how to just go with the flow, put yourself out there, and to not worry about what people think. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel and you haven't subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button right now. Just do it, just do it. I've got some more awesome videos coming for you guys, so I don't want you to miss anything. All right guys, I'm gonna check you guys out in the next video. And remember to always seize the day. Peace.